Hi, guys. We're going to get started, but first we want to promote our good friends at Synergy Pro Wrestling on July 11th at 7 p.m. on Fight TV. We have the For the First Responders show. With me right now is Colin West, the owner of Synergy Pro, to discuss with us some of the matches on the card and why you definitely want to purchase this pay-per-view. How are you, Colin?
I'm good. I've been hanging out outside the studio. They've been trying to ignore me. I've been banging on the glass for the last 3 or 4 hours. They finally let me in and said, "What the hell do you want? Who are you?" And I said, "People ask me that all the time." So, no, thank you for letting me on. I appreciate it. We're doing a really good thing through WrestlingNewsWorld.com. We're doing For the First Responders on July 11th, live on Fight TV, with proceeds benefiting the American Nurses Foundation. So definitely worth it based on what we're doing the show for alone. But I like to think that between WNW and us, we put together a card that's pretty stacked for our return to Fight TV.
It absolutely is. So, obviously the first matches that jump off the card to me are the qualifying matches for the Garden State Invitational, where you have LSG versus Jordan Oliver. You have that Ring of Honor versus MLW match. Tell us a little bit about that match and why you're excited for it.
I mean, there are a few reasons. Part of how I put together matches at Synergy and how we tell stories is I legitimately go to the guys every couple of months and I'm like, who do you want? Who do you want to go with? And we construct from there. And these are two guys who have wanted to scrap with each other for a while now. Half because they respect the other guy's work and half because they know the clout that comes with beating the other guy right now. Like, Jordan is on fire. He is probably the most over 21-year-old that's not on a major television show like named WW something or AE something right now. He's killing it in Injustice and MLW. He's killing it at DCW. He's killing it in Synergy. And, when you're the youngest ever worldwide champion in CZW history, you got some clout on your name. And LSG, meanwhile, is just breaking out as a singles competitor after a ton of success in the tag division at Ring of Honor. Has had some real stellar matches in Synergy and elsewhere. And these are two guys who just wanted to see who the better guy was. And it came down to having 2 spots for 4 guys in the DSI. And here we go. All right, let's see who's better on any given night. And that night is July 11th. And meanwhile, JD Drake, Tony Deppen is just a contrast to styles that I hated until I loved it. It's one of those that we put down on paper and I'm like, this isn't going to work. This is going to work. And you've got 2 guys who have probably about 80 pounds of difference between them, but both very similar mentality, very roll up the sleeves, very smack you in the mouth until you fall over kind of guys. So I fully expect these two to beat the snot out of each other. And there's not going to be anything pretty about it, but that's the way that I think the Deppen and JD would like it. Neither one of them wants to win pretty, so we'll see who's going to win ugly.
Definitely something I'm excited to watch for sure. Talk to us about Frightmare on Pratt Street. I know it's something that you're very proud of.
I'm going to pull back the wool. I have not explained this in full to anybody yet, so I'm going to do that for you. We pre-taped this. We hired an independent, award-winning horror/campy horror director, and we filmed ourselves a 12-minute, 80s-influenced short horror fight in a really gross, creepy, abandoned basement. And it came out better than I even expected it to when we were on set filming. And I know this is really, really breaking the fourth wall, Colt Cabana, but I don't care. It was fun, and when you're in the moment of something, you kind of get a sense, and we talked about this before we came on the air just now, you get a sense if something's good while you're doing it. And I knew we had something good. I didn't know how good, but I feel like it's going to be something that people are talking about. I've had enough people watch it to know that it's not trash. And the general consensus is that it's definitely up there with cinematic things that people have seen. I'm not going to go ahead and compare it to stuff that billion-dollar companies put out, because that would be stupid. But I think people are going to be very pleasantly surprised and very sports entertained by what they see, because we didn't try to frame it as a wrestling match. We just tried to frame it as a fight, and we had a real good time doing it.
It's awesome. I definitely looking forward to watching that one for sure. The more I learn about it, the more interesting it gets. The match that you just announced, KTB versus Matt Vertigo. Tell us why people should be really interested in that one.
These are two guys I've known for 9 years. These are two guys who were both on the first independent wrestling card of the 2010s that I attended and have spoken to and been around ever since. KTB has been on a trajectory that we've all seen, breaking out matches with guys like Sami Callihan on Joey Janela's Spring Break, and the guy that kind of has been the gatekeeper for some big-time companies that guys like Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt have gone through to get where they go. And he's a measuring stick in a lot of places. It's like, all right, let's put him in there with the Beast to see how good they are and see if they can take it as well as they give it, because Kyle's going to hurt you. And let's be real, KTB is 6'1", 265, and every bit the beast that people think he is. One guy that's not going to be intimidated is Matt Vertigo. Matt Vertigo has been wrestling KTB for the better part of 10 years. And his trajectory has been very different. Took some time off to get his body right and put on some weight and go to college and do all these other things. And he's finally starting to get a hold of what he can really do at like 6'4", 225, this very lanky, rangy, exciting guy physically. He's really just starting to get a sense of himself. And so this is his Synergy debut. He's going to have to defeat one of the 2 or 3 best win-loss records in our company's history to get it done. But it's a guy who's not going to step back from the beast.
Excellent. Our good friend, Matt McIntosh, faces Francis Kip Stevens. Tell us why that one could steal the show.
Well, I'm in a place about this because McIntosh, for the better part of 2019, I will say, carried this company on his back as the Synergy Pro Wrestling champion. He's our longest reigning champion to date. Excessively successful. Did it in a very backhanded, cheaty kind of way, but he did it. Then after he dropped the title at Black Friday, he took 2 or 3 months off to kind of get his body right, which, of course, I have no problem with that. You're an independent contractor. Be healthy. Do your thing. The problem that I had is he came back immediately asking for a rematch. And I said, you took some time off. I can't just do that. So he seems to have a problem with the fact that I'm putting him in there with Francis Kip Stevens, which I don't know why that's insulting. This is a guy who worked on Monday Night Raw this year against Eric Rowan. This is a guy who has been around for a long time. He's trained to create a pro. He's part of that Brian Myers system, that Zack Ryder system, that Pat Buck system. I mean, this guy is one tough nerd, but he's a hell of a good professional wrestler, and he can beat McIntosh. I have no doubt of that in my mind, but Bad Apple seems to think that this match is beneath him. So we'll see what comes to pass from that.
One of my favorites, the 3-way between Mike Dell, Alex Raymond, and Kit Osborne.
Yeah, these are 3 guys who all hate each other for very different reasons. And that's as simple as that. Alex Raymond coming off of a 6-month suspension. If you go back and watch, formerly known as Aaron Bradley against TJ Crawford all of last year, we finally blew it off in a last man standing match. And I just said that whoever lost that match would have to kind of cool his jets for 6 months and regroup, just because we needed to move on from that. And they wouldn't have kept their hands off each other. So Raymond, coming off of that, Raymond and Dell have a ton of history. And Dell and Kid Osborne, going back to CZW and Dojo Wars and all these, everywhere they've gone, they've hated each other. Like, legit hated each other. So this is a really good opportunity for 3 guys who kind of need to all hit the reset button here to jockey for position. Because everybody on this roster is 2 to 3 good wins away from a title shot. I like to keep things very, very level and very even, and so does our creative director. So this is going to be a jumping off point for one of these 3 guys.
I think it's a fantastic 3-way match. Now, the Iron Man match. Let's talk about this. The main event just sounds exciting. Alex Zane versus Blake Christian.
I'll pull the wool back again. When I got on the phone with Wrestling News World with Thomas and Steven the first time to talk about this was their pitch. This was their vision, and they wanted to find a partner to do it with. And I said, I've always been down to do stuff for charities. I've done, I did shows back in the day for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So this seems like a really good cause. And then they said the thing that you never really in the back of your head want to hear as somebody who's in charge of creative. And it's just, well, we just have one match that we want to really do. We want to really pitch you. And I went, damn it. This is going to be terrible. This is going to be the worst thing ever. It's like when somebody comes on your podcast and tells you how to interview somebody and you're like, And then they said, let's do Blake and Alex, but let's do like a 30-minute Iron Man. And I'm like, I'm going to take full credit for this idea. This is, this is just the natural evolution of 2 guys who are meant to be in the ring with one another. Every match that they've been involved in together, whether it's singles or whether it's been part of a scramble, has been special. They are special in the ring with one another, and they know it. And not only do they know it, both guys are friendly with each other, but they're cut from the same cloth where they want everybody to know that they were the better man. And what better way to do that than to just kind of give them that half hour to settle. And I will say this, if it goes a half hour and it's 1-1 or 2-2 or 3-3 or zips or whatever, if it's tied, we're going to go until it's over. There's no BS. There's no game about this. There will be one man is better on that night to this Iron Man match. And I don't care if the 30 turns into 45 or 60. We'll get it done.
Overall, the card sounds fantastic. I know we cannot wait to watch and purchase the pay-per-view. Our listeners need to keep their eyes out to our Twitter accounts because we should have some interesting news coming to you soon, coming directly from Fight TV. That's all I can tell you right now, but stay tuned to next week and we'll have something for you. But Colin, thank you so much for joining us for a few minutes to kind of pitch the show. We're excited and looking forward to working with Synergy moving forward.
Man, I kind of know what you're going to be saying, and I still am really, that's a good tease. You dropped a good tease, my dude. I'm very impressed with that. And it's a pleasure talking to you. It's always good to talk to people who run a great podcast, who are real friendly and just so, like, without a motive or an agenda, just really trying to help out the business. And I appreciate you guys so much. And tell your co-host and his very pregnant wife hello.
Will do, for sure. Thank you, Colin.